Monday. It's your girl Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy Shout Tom Shaw.
And every Monday here on DFWI Radio, we
Pull up.
don't talk about people, we just talk about
Defects.
Mr. Shaw. Oh my God, I barely made it today.
Did you really?
Yes.
I'm in the process of trying to car insurance and all this extra stuff. And
I literally was like sick 2 minutes before I logged in. Like I don't know if I ate too much. Oh. I don't know. I got sick. I barely made it. But we are back. Last week it was your fault. This week it was almost my fault. And I figured we needed a little bit of comedy to get the show started because I feel like the rest of the show is like rough.
Hold on, why am I getting blamed? I just had some things I had to take care of. I don't like how you blaming me, Candy Kaylin.
Mr. Shaw, when it was me, you was like, we can't never get the show going because she's never here. It's you now, sir. It's your fault. I'm here. You were gone. You weren't even somewhere you could get on live. You can log into us anywhere in the world.
You know what? It's some negativity.
And pick us up here on DFWIRadio.com. But you were missing.
On your end that we ain't going through right now.
You say what?
It's some negativity on your end that I ain't even going to indulge in right now.
Why? It's not negativity. When I do it, it's negativity. When you do it, it's jokes.
You don't tell jokes. Everybody play their role.
But sometimes I'm funnier than you, so I do tell jokes.
Right.
You just make sure your baby don't be in the store with no pamper on, okay?
You said that like you the other sibling. You said that like you the funniest sibling.
I didn't say I was the funniest sibling, but I got jokes sometimes.
You're definitely not the funniest. You third. You're third. What are you talking about?
I don't focus on jokes, okay? If you want the unfiltered truth, then you come speak to me, okay?
I'm just saying.
I give. If you want mean sister, that's me. Come holler at me, okay? You guys can tell the jokes, but every once in a while I am funny, and so you know that. Like, don't be a hater. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to kind of get this show started on a lighter note. We were out last week. There has been so much that has transpired since the last time we had an opportunity to speak to you. So we thank you for being fans of Pull Up the Podcast and listening to us. We thank you for listening to us, those that listen to us on DFWIRadio.com. We were a few minutes late, but we are back to give you a show and a little piece of comedy, sports, news, and hip hop. Mr. Shaw, I think I'll just start with the lightest, hardest part of this. Let's talk Brooklyn Nets and the super team.
F them. I ain't talking about them, no messing with them until playoffs come. I bet on them the other night with the Lakers, and they got ring. Like, fucking my money. I don't like it.
Was that Saturday when Kyrie got ejected because Dennis Schroeder called him?
They was already getting smacked. They was getting smacked off the TOP. So
James Harden is hurt.
But you got Kyrie and KD.
Right, but how do you create that team chemistry that we talk so much about in sports when KD has been out 22 games, James Harden is out, Kyrie has been out. Kyrie do what?
They've only played 7 games together.
James Harden, Kevin Durant has been out most of the time that James Harden has stepped in and carried the load. Kyrie Irving has been out. He's been, personal reasons. There's been a variety of things where this team, we really haven't seen a complete team yet, especially with the new additions of Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge. Who am I forgetting?
That's it. That's on to the mouth. But okay. I'm saying, they've only played 7 games in whole together, all 3 of them.
Right.
So for me, chemistry gonna come to play eventually. Somebody gonna get mad that they're not getting the shots they want. I just can't believe they blew my money up like that. I'm really mad about that. They blew my money up like that, and I have you only get up for the games where LeBron and them are like, what's your thought process? Like, yeah, y'all got a super team and they don't got no stars over there right now. The Lakers are just a normal team right now.
You said they're just a normal team? Y'all forgive me. I had to turn my good camera on. I was wondering why my light was bad. The Lakers are without major pieces of the puzzle. They are LeBron
and AD.
and AD is hurt, but we know LeBron is the biggest piece of that puzzle that is currently missing. So this is everybody else's opportunity to prove yourself, develop your chemistry, and not exhaust yourself because LeBron and AD come back fresh and healthy. So a fresh, healthy AD LeBron rested could spell trouble.
Not could, will. Will be a trouble for the league. And they know that, we know that, everybody know that, right? Everybody know that the NBA is in trouble if that team can come back healthy, you know. And I think with them being out and they haven't just completely fell out of the top of the West, says something about the team, you know, that they're willing to fight. And they don't got LeBron nor AD. And they're not coming out just laying it down. Like, no superstars on the team. Everybody just doing what they supposed to, playing their role. So, boy, so see we talk about this. I just, you know, we really can't gauge them. They play 7 games together.
I agree.
I know when the playoffs come, I feel like, because, again, we don't know how healthy KD really is. He play a game, sit out 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we agree. I think that he is.
I think take a mental break during the playoffs. Like, man, you know what?
Well, see,
I don't really want to practice. I don't really want to play the game. You know, my dog from when I was 5 and I lived in Germany passed away on this day. I got to take a mental. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like, he really is I ain't gonna say he disrespectful because he a free man, right? So any man who lives their life the way they want to, I'm not mad at it because you're a free man. That's what you're supposed to do. So let's be clear. I'm not mad at Kyrie on his decisions, but your respect level, again, I don't really believe in respecting the company and doing what they say, but the NBA has not been horrible to you, Kyrie. For you to treat them like you in the NFL, like for you to treat them as though they treat you like a slave, because you really are a tad bit disrespectful. You take 3 days off for your birthday. You sound like a female, bro. Middle of the season, you take 3 days off for your birthday.
So here's my politically correct view of things, because I am trying to be politically correct. I do try to see the situation as a whole. I do understand, as you said, that he is a free man, and I respect freedom. I respect not being obligated to the organization.
Mm-hmm.
At some point as an adult, and I freely believe, and this is simply my opinion, I absolutely believe there are some things going on with Kyrie that are not being addressed. It is his personal business that we don't have to know about. And that's the only thing that I can come up with nicely to explain the personal 3-day holiday that you didn't put in your vacation request because, well, you play in the NBA, your birthday falls in the middle of the season, and that's not, you don't really work a job where you can be off on vacation for 3 days. You could, but you probably shouldn't, because you leave your team in limbo and somebody else is getting playing time while you're doing whatever it is that you need to do. Now, at the same time, when it comes to mental health, because there's something wrong with KD, Kyrie, James Harden, Blake Griffin. I feel like they're all chasing their own shadow at this point. Okay? That is my personal opinion. When you look at everything, you know, Kyrie has a ring, Kevin Durant has a ring. They're never happy. Mm-hmm. They just always seem to, you know, Kevin Durant had enough time, and that's why I don't want to hear men tell me they don't have time. Kevin Durant had enough time to argue with Michael Rappaport on Twitter. There has got to be some, you know, to always try to defend your position and your play and these bogus accounts. Like, at some point, you got to quit chasing your own shadow. You're Kevin Durant. You are technically healthy, probably one of the top 2 players in the league at this point, right? Because your legs are younger than LeBron's. You can get a shot anywhere you want on the court. Most people want the ball in your hands when it comes clutch time because you've proven you can be clutch. But your leadership ability. This is a team full of stars with no leadership, in my opinion.
I don't think the NBA should have fined him in the first place. 50 racks for what he said. No, I shouldn't have fined him. But what he do need, bro, you a star. right? You gotta
Why are
know.
you talking to him?
Not even why you talking to him. Michael Rappaport got a little name. Why you mad?
He does, and he has a podcast, and he has a book, but he's Michael Rappaport.
He's,
Like,
like I
if
said,
you were
he's Remy. He's
right,
8 years old.
if
He's
you
8 years old.
were,
And
right. That's what he does. That's how he makes his living. He has this story about LeBron not talking to his kid. Like
1995, cool. Like that's
like you're Kevin freaking Durant. Like
but my
I don't know.
why you take everything, bro? You're a
So
star, bro. You can't take stuff. It's okay to take stuff personal when people coming for you, when people lying on your name. People, that's not what he was doing. Y'all were having a conversation. You got mad about the conversation, and then you went left. I'm gonna spit in your face. I'm gonna pull up on you. Start talking about the man white. Like, bro, you left, bro. Like, what's up? Like,
how do we get here? Why
you got so many burner accounts? Speak freely. That let me know you're not real when you got to do it. Because again, anybody who know me would prefer for me to do things like, man, maybe we should be. No. My platform is blatant and disrespectful. And I'm not just disrespectful, but I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I'm not gonna go get a burner account and say what I want. That's sucker-ish to me. Say it, stand on 10. Say what you gotta say. So really, KD been out here probably saying anything and everybody thinks he got multiple burner accounts. I didn't even know what a burner account was until they started talking about KD Heady. So you literally go set up a whole nother Instagram to troll people instead of just being you and doing you.
You are in the NBA. You are a businessman. Why do you have that kind of time? I troll people daily. I troll everybody with my regular accounts, but I also don't post. And when you tell me, and that's why I said I feel like this is a team full of stars who they're scared of their own shadow. Like there are so many issues that lie amongst this five. You know, LaMarcus Aldridge has never really lived up to his full potential. Plus, he's like at the back end of his career. Blake Griffin has been injury prone. KD is now injury prone. Kyrie has been injury prone. James Harden, he's just James Harden. James Harden is going to give me offense with limited defense, but I don't think James Harden is a leader. I don't think James Harden wants the pressure. Kyrie, we saw you want the shine of the star, but you don't want the pressure of the star. KD doesn't really want the pressure. And when I say pressure, I'm not talking ball in your hand. I'm talking when it comes to being responsible and accountable for the productivity of the team.
Everybody want to be the star until you still blame got to be pointing at. Now
somebody has to own it. Exactly. And I think this is just a team full of stars who have lackluster leadership ability, and it's hard for other people to follow them because KD is out here playing around on Twitter with a burner account.
Burner account.
Nothing about that says grown professional man to me. And, oh, by the way, first graders get their feelings hurt. The rest of us, we deal with it. Like, that's called adulting, 101. People will say things about you. People will dislike you. Somebody's going to dislike this video on YouTube. I don't even waste my time. Like, thank you. That's my response. Kevin Durant, you're arguing with Michael Rappaport, a.k.a. Remy, on Twitter, talking about spitting in people's face. I don't think the NBA should have to find him because we are now starting blurring the lines of freedom of speech.
And pulling up.
But then that's where the hate speech comes in because now you're initiating violence. Like, it's just so many things that are wrong with the things that KD does with the burner accounts. And KD, we always know it's you, baby. Somebody get this to KD and tell KD, grow up. Find you some real friends that's going to tell you stay off Twitter. Stop. Like, I think sometimes they need to just get off of social media because people are going to talk about you. That's what the media is for. You do your job. Let them do their job. Agree to disagree. Go get buckets and win a ring. That's how you silence the haters.
It's the burner account for me, bro. That's just not manly. I just don't think it's manly. There got to be another way. Come on, man. There's not enough.
But my thing is he ain't got enough to do. You ain't got enough to do in the day that you can argue with somebody on Twitter.
I mean, he ain't playing every day. He don't play when he want to. Maybe
but I know he's got a business deal. There's a business he could be acquiring. There's some stock he could be buying. There's somewhere he could be investing. There's a nonprofit that needs his assistant. He can start another nonprofit. He has a movie he could be producing. There is something Kevin Durant could be doing besides arguing with people on Twitter from fake accounts. And, oh, by the way, KD, How do you have time to keep up with all those fake accounts?
I feel like this is what he like to do, bro. He like to argue with people.
I feel like KD would be the perfect.
But then again, he don't really like interviews neither.
Exactly. He only wants to talk ish behind the keyboard. He don't want to do it on the camera. And again, I could talk about KD and James Harden and Kyrie all day long, but unfortunately, we do a show where we are required to use our platform to inform the people, to have conversations that matter.
Somebody pay us?
Do what?
Somebody pay? You said required. Required means we get paid.
Well, we have a platform where we want to inform the people and have conversations that matter. We are on Rags to Riches Radio now, so we did run today. So that's a new update. There's a lot going on, and we thank our fans. But we give the news to people outside of the United States, so people are listening to find out what's going on in the world. And unfortunately, we live in a world that seems to continue to be chaotic. The last year has been chaotic, pandemic, civil unrest, police shootings of the police. It is depressing. And I really don't like to talk about it. But unfortunately, Minnesota is on the clock again, and there are no sports. This is a part of the sports segment, which leads us to where we're going with this conversation. The Minnesota Twins, as well as the Minnesota Timberwolves, will not be playing sports tonight due to the unfortunate shooting of Daunte Wright that occurred yesterday 10 miles from Minneapolis, where Derek Chauvin, who is the officer accused of murdering George Floyd, is currently on trial. So there was another police shooting that took place yesterday. The police chief said it was an accident. The female officer intended to tase the young man. She pulled out her gun. She drew from the right side, where they have stated that guns are on the right side, the dominant hand of the officer. Tasers are on the left side. She drew from the right side. She commanded that she had a taser that she was going to use, and she shot Daunte Wright at point blank range one time with a single shot that later killed him as he took off after the shot, and you can hear her on video saying, "I shot him." It's a lot.
It's one of them situations where will it stop? Will it stop happening? Because they're scared, right? And this is not the same as the African American Army, the African American who was in the military, active duty, being maced, because he wouldn't get out the court. This is these are situations that won't stop occurring because these people feel like there's no problem. They feel like there's not an issue, right? Like, I shot him. Man, you don't know the difference between your taser hand and your shooting hand? Right? Like, it's not the Wild Wild West. Right? You should know if I tap right hip, that's my gun. If I tap left hip, that's my taser. Right? This is your job. And my job when I make a mistake, which is nowhere near as important as shooting someone, customers, if I'm on my phone, customers want me fired. Right? You shoot someone, I thought I was on my phone, and it doesn't matter what's going on in my life at that time. They want me to prioritize this job. This is your job. It's a priority. You're supposed to know left hip, right hip. If that's something you went through in training, that's something you know. When we went through training, nobody tell me we couldn't use our phone. It's a policy. But again, we're in the 21st century. That's a policy that I can't pay attention to because I never know what's going to happen in my family's life. All right? We just survived COVID. So don't tell me about a policy that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But again, companies and, police, not organizations, but policemen and women have to realize if you're afraid to do your job, it's not built for you. Kevin Durant, you're a basketball superstar. You know what happens with superstar starter? People are going to want to talk to you. People are going to have interviews with you. People are going to come for you. You can't be out here burning accounts. That's the new thing. Like, everybody can hide from accountability, right? So I can't really be mad at the police when no one wants to be held accountable for their actions and They want to do things and then blame somebody else. Man, you shot this man because, and you gonna say you didn't know. I think there's a big difference between. I think the weight difference. I think the structure is a difference between a taser and a gun. I think when you pull the trigger of a gun that there's a big difference between when you pull the trigger of a taser. I'm almost positive. Even in the heat of the moment, you should be able to tell the difference because this is your job. So for me, I respect the city of Minnesota for shutting sports down because sports isn't important when people are losing their lives and they didn't commit a crime.
Mr. Shaw, I think you said what was most important. At that time, this was a police stop that occurred for air fresheners hanging in the window. So I'm assuming it is against the law in Minnesota. Um, we're having people lose their life on non-felony related stops. And for people who don't understand what I mean by that, felony warrants. You have a warrant for murder. You have a warrant for armed robbery where we detect that on the license plates and we're pulling you over. These are not the situations in which these things are occurring. These are minor situations. And every time something happens, we go to, well, his previous record. He had been arrested for possession of a handgun that he wasn't licensed to carry. He'd had an issue with the law enforcement is now the story. Mm-hmm. At that time, the minor information that an officer is able to pull up has, he had a warrant which wasn't for murder. Mm-hmm. It should not lead to murder. And I think some Americans are going to see this differently because his mother is a white woman. Mm. And no matter how we look at the circumstances and the situations, he is a black male. His mother is a white woman. She will appeal to the hearts of some Americans that have been able to ignore the fact that minor traffic stops should not lead to murder. And you made a very valid point. On your job, they want you, customers are outraged when you're not doing what they want you to do. We seem to be less outraged, some people, that officers are not doing their job. Now, on the reverse of that, because we do try to be fair and across the board, there were officers that were shot in Georgia today. And there was an officer that was killed in New Mexico. And there was an officer killed here in Texas earlier this month or the end of last month on trying to render aid to a stalled vehicle. Mm-hmm. So right now we are dealing with a bunch of crazy.
Extremely crazy.
We've got people who have decided that the police they're not going to kill them. And that's what these situations do with this immunity. When officers are able to commit murder and get away with it, other people say to themselves, I normally would go to jail, but am I going to get an opportunity to live? So crazy people make crazy decisions.
Thanks.
And so no one is safe. And so in Black America, the trauma has got to stop.
You know what time it is.
As we go to break, you guys should go on Twitter and watch Colin Kaepernick's video placed to the officer that was the lieutenant in the military that was pepper sprayed by police officers in Virginia. Guys, we will be back. It is 6:30. We will be back after this break. We will pay a nice salute to rapper DMX when we return after this break. This is Candy Kim Lynn.
It's your boy Shawton Shaw.
We'll be back.